Just minutes after stopping in Pleasant Hill,
The fire was huge.
the Southeast Polk Bluebird school bus was nearly destroyed.
Just the bus going up in flames, and it was loud noises and sparks everywhere, and
A little scary?
very scary. All the smoke started coming out more, and it caught on fire, and it blew, kept popping, like the gas parts or something, and the tires were popping. It was horrible.
7th and 8th graders were coming home from their first day of school when they noticed smoke pouring out from near the steering wheel.
People were screaming, like they all said, "We're gonna die, we're gonna die." But we all came out fine.
Fine because the bus driver was able to pull over and the kids got out fast.
These two boys, Tim and Robert Morris, that go to our school, they actually came out and busted the back door open so people in the back could get out.
It was very loud and just trying to not panic and stuff.
Someone called me and said I saved everybody's life.
It turns out from the time they're in kindergarten, every Southeast Polk student practices school bus evacuation drills. And this time, it really paid off.
You see why we practice bus evacuation?
You never know when you're going to need it. I've been doing this for 15 years. This is the first time I've ever had it happen, so it's not something that happens very often.
Chris Latcher caught the flames, the screams, and the explosions on his cell phone camera. Standing behind his camera, 16 kids who managed to get off the bus just in time, alive and well. And what a story they have to tell on their second day of school.
It was quite scary because I've never been in that situation before.
Yeah, I just knew the bus was blowing up. I thought it was gonna explode or something. It was really scary.
But are you thankful that you're okay?
Very thankful.
Nobody got hurt?
Nope, nobody got hurt.
Shooting flames and thick smoke filled the night sky. When firefighters arrived on scene, there was little they could do to save the century-old church. As they tried to contain the fire, members of the congregation stood by and watched as their place of worship was destroyed.
It was a very sick and empty feeling to see this happening.
Wood crackled, walls fell, and then the steeple crumbled, bringing down the symbolic bell.
The bell chimes 7 times every Sunday morning. The bell is rung 7 times to let the community know we're starting our worship.
Come daylight, a partial shell is all that remains.
And I can see the bell. I don't know what shape it's in, but it is there.
This is what the altar once looked like, now a mound of burnt wood and ash. 1 pew, 2 flower pedestals, and a Christ candle are the only things that were salvaged. But Pastor Keith Lingwall says what's more important is the fond memories that remain.
There are a lot of memories for many people, whether it's weddings, funerals, baptisms, education for children as they were growing up.
Laverne and Bev Anderson became members in 1957, raising their family in the church.
Our children went to Sunday school here and confirmation, and one daughter was married here and one granddaughter.
Just 2 weeks ago, they took these family pictures inside.
Oh, sad. Very sad. This is God's house.
As much as the building means to us, our congregation, our church, is not a building. It's a group of people that care about each other and about their community and about their world. And so that's what will keep us together and bind us together as we move ahead.
About the time snow melts, farmers get excited.
This is not a living, it's a good hobby.
And when the farm's not exactly a sprawling Texas ranch?
No, we just got 10 head of cows.
Every birth draws attention. But Kenny Jensen couldn't believe Dottie.
She's had twins before, and she was just huge. I mean, big as a barrel she was.
And Sunday morning, Dottie caught his eye.
I looked out in the lot, and there the cow was laying down and had one. And just as I walked out, she had another one.
But it wasn't until about when most Sunday services were letting out that Kenny let out a holy cow.
She laid down and had another one, all 3 unassisted.
He brought me out here and said, "Look at this," and I just, speechless.
3 girls.
When the third one started coming out, I just couldn't believe it.
We wouldn't have been surprised if she would have had twins, but, this was not expected.
Because triplet calves are 13 times more rare than human triplets.
Quite a few people stopped by and called, and got some more coming this afternoon.
And in this breed, American British White Park, they're the first triplets ever reported.
We just helped. Dottie did all the work.
So you'll excuse the Jensens if they gush.
I always take real good care of them, get them in, and I don't know, kind of foolish with them I am, but I like them.
We're pretty proud of these little guys, and they're all gonna do well.
To a 4-year-old.
4.5.
Okay, 4.5-year-old. There's independence and speed.
Because you can go faster.
In 2 wheels.
Just within the last month, he's taken his training wheels off, so he's been riding a lot.
And the cul-de-sac rule? A helmet every time.
So you don't fall off and bonk your head.
But this is helmet number 2. The first?
It broke.
How'd it break?
When the truck ran over me.
It happened Saturday in a neighbor's driveway.
As I turn around, I see a truck with no one that I can see driving, rolling back over, looked like about to roll over 3 boys.
Including Eli.
And I was screaming, stop, stop.
I saw the tire go up over his bike and saw him under the truck as well.
This went over my helmet and me.
There was a 2-year-old inside that must have somehow put it into gear.
It was scary.
The chin strap was still around his neck with a piece of helmet on it.
Shattered in so many pieces.
6, 7, 8.
Police are convinced the tire crushed it.
We definitely feel like the helmet saved his life. For it to shatter like that, something had to have hit it, whether it was the wheel or something, and if it wouldn't have hit his helmet, it would have hit his head, and that could have been possibly fatal.
Eli has owies.
Right here on this spot.
Plenty of them.
On my forehead and some on my face, and
But after a little bike repair
kind of got old, but my neighbor fixed it.
and a hospital overnight, Eli came home, clipped on his backup.
You have to put a helmet on.
You do? Why?
Because so you don't fall off and hit your head.
And triggered tears of thankfulness.
I totally think it's a miracle, and it was God's protection over both him and our neighbors.
Doctors have nurses, like Santa has elves. All Jeff Spencer has is a letter opener.
Yeah, I'm sure by now I'd have all kinds of cuts if I didn't.
And a quiet zone to process piles of bittersweet Christmas cheer.
She kind of declining every day.
When word started spreading that his mom's brain tumor would most likely win before her favorite holiday arrived.
This one's all the way from Pennsylvania.
Friends and strangers decided.
This is actually from St. Anthony's School in Des Moines.
Christmas can't wait.
The last official count was 1,501, but that was yesterday.
Before Mary Sellers pulled up Thursday.
All kinds of good stuff.
And dropped off another armful.
Well, I knew there was something going on because usually I just have a handful, and all of a sudden I kept getting more, and I thought, well, there must be somebody pretty important staying here.
Pennsylvania, Nebraska, Indiana,
Alaska.
Carol Spencer's now surrounded by so much love in her final room.
I think if we put them all up now, they would overwhelm the walls to begin with.
Her family's moved on to a massive book that'll be displayed at her funeral any day now.
And this one's from Alaska.
A mail carrier can tell you the power of a card.
Oh, lift your spirits.
But watch a son read a stranger's note, and you can feel it.
I've walked in your shoes, and I know that what it is like. It's great to know that so many people have you in their thoughts and prayers. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Hugs and prayers are coming your way.
First time I got a bow and arrow, I was 16 years old.
And with every point,
it's just hard work and determination.
Pull.
I practiced a lot at 100 yards.
And perfect shot. Matt Stutzman gets closer to his ultimate goal.
It's kind of a dream, really. I'm living a dream.
World's greatest archer. The ambitious 28-year-old Fairfield native has already achieved one prestigious honor.
It's the national team. Yeah, I get invited with the U.S. to travel to different countries and shoot for the U.S.
And his skills continue to amaze. For example, keep your eyes on that blue balloon 100 yards away.
There it is.
In addition to the incredible accuracy, there's something even more remarkable about Matt's archery accomplishments. Something you've just got to see to believe.
There's 3 parts on my face that I need the string to touch at all times, which is my nose, the corner of my mouth, and then on the bottom of my chin. I move my jaw just a little bit, kind of like so, and it shoots the bow.
Bullseye after bullseye. from a man
I was born this way, and there's no medical reason for it.
with no arms.
I'm gonna live my life to its fullest, and I'm gonna do what everybody else does, and I'm not expecting hand-me-outs. I'm just, I'm just gonna be me.
And it's working out pretty well. In addition to that U.S. national team, he has an excellent shot of making the 2012 Paralympic Games in London.
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna be in it. I'm real confident about that.
And who would bet against him? After all, Matt Stutzman's life.
Life's not that bad. You can do whatever you want, and if you have a goal set, go for it.
Is right on target.
I want to be the best in the world, not the best with no arms or disabilities. So that's kind of that's what drives me.
In a town of 450, word travels faster than the traffic.
I had a phone call and told me they saw me in my car up on the wall.
Frank Spore's spitting image appeared a few weeks ago.
They say they could definitely tell that was me in there.
A few dozen bricks away.
I knew him as a personal friend. This is Phil McCombs. He was a personal friend.
From other folks who make small-town life worth living.
When I was about 13 or 14, she was my girlfriend when I was in high school.
The day I started this, my dog had puppies.
When summer turned to fall, Todd Spore's brushes.
I use my finger sometimes.
Turned a two-story business into a three-dimensional tribute.
It's been like 8 weeks, and there's a couple days I was tired and I just couldn't work.
Otherwise, he's been right here. Using black and white images printed from his ancient Macintosh.
It's 1994, but it still works good. It's just slow.
To record his home's history on century-old bricks.
I'm sure there's a better way.
The old service station attendants are here. So's James Bussey.
He was a fighter pilot in World War II.
Who died in Germany.
But by the time I'm done painting, I feel like I know these people,
If only they knew him.
You don't find that kind of people in today's society.
1994, up by Reynolds on a big curve, right by the railroad tracks, I guess. I haven't drove back by there because I laid in the ditch for like 16 hours before they found me, and I had a broken back and a broken neck and I broke all the bones in my face on the steering wheel.
The man who'd hung billboards for a living spent 18 months in the hospital. His walking days were over.
I came to a point that I had to accept I'm one of these handicapped people now.
17 years later, it was a pain getting his cane into a cherry picker to paint way up there. But that four-letter word,
I have pain all the time,
is his gift.
With no finance reward and everything other than personal gratification.
Step back and get the big picture, I guess.
I get impressed every time I come down the main drag and I see this and just say, what a positive image it is to the community.
And his work isn't bad either. In Bussey, Eric Hansen, News Channel 8.
I'm saving up for a Macintosh.
Iowa's news leader.
Sometimes you can just look at a couple and see love. Christopher and Christina Keeker are one of those couples.
Well, after the first date, with all the sweating and the stuttering, the embarrassing things that came out of my mouth, and she accepted my offer for another date, I knew that there was something different there.
They married in 2009, left Iowa City this year when Christina got her dream job with the city of Clive and bought their first house.
We bought the house with cash. It was a dump. It needed tons of work.
Their future in the new home and their life together were taking shape until it happened.
Because I had these panicked voicemails on my phone and I didn't understand. It was very vague. Somehow the helmet separated from her before she hit the ground.
Left, right.
Christina was in a coma for weeks.
Left, right.
2 months after the accident, she's at On With Life, a rehab facility for people with severe brain injuries. She's more alert now.
Look for the basket before you toss it. Look. Good.
Relearning how to use her body and speak.
Here it comes. How we're going to add this Here it comes. Just tap it. Tap. Tap. See? You do it. There it is.
It's not like the movies, which is something I've come to learn. In the movies, you're in a coma and then you get a kiss from your wife and you wake up and you know what's going on and you miss the kids. I'm optimistic that I'll have a partner that I can share my life with again. there's a chance I won't. There's a chance I won't have anybody to take home.
He wears his wife's wedding ring every day as he works alongside her therapists. He doesn't know if he'll ever be able to give it back, but thinks he will.
Right now, Christina is really not sure who she is. So when she's ready and understands what's going on, I'll be happy to give her ring back. When she takes it from me, that would be good too. I'd like that back, Christopher, and just takes it right off my finger. That would be good.
The size and the scope of the destruction here in Joplin is just incomprehensible, and it goes on for block after block, mile after mile. Stop and look around, and all you see is this. A day and a half after Joplin's monster moved through, the sun finally rose, exposing a debris field that stretches for miles. Every block in its path chewed up, every home blown to bits. And every survivor trying to comprehend what just happened to their lives.
We find that we're just having trouble almost thinking, processing, just because of just so much. There's just so much going on.
The Darbys rode out the storm in a bathtub.
It hit so fast and so hard, and it just wouldn't stop. It just kept coming and coming and coming.
And climbed out to find out they couldn't find anything.
Not really. Some Hot Wheels. Some Hot Wheels. You know, not really.
But right there, next to the couch, they found heartbreak. Lacey's 86-year-old grandma covered in her blanket. Between sifting and scrounging, more than 100 families here have funerals to plan.
Yeah, I'm just, no, I'll be honest, we're one thing at a time. Yeah. I'm not sure if, that's.
But up the street, it's even worse.
Everybody was huddling with each other, and then everybody was just sucked out of the house. Everybody went different directions.
Including a 16-month-old boy no one can find.
Still today, no hospital has him. We checked the morgue yesterday. He's not in the morgue, so we don't know where he's at.
You have to sift through the rubble to find it, but there are signs of hope in this cleanup job that will go on for months, if not years. I'm Eric Hansen in Joplin, Missouri.
And that major winter storm we've been warning you about, it is here. Blizzard conditions with the blowing snow and bitter cold, and it is not over yet. Here's the very latest for you. Travel not advised over a good portion of the state. This accident on Interstate 80, a clear indication why that is.
A blizzard warning remains in effect until noon tomorrow, and after that, the wind chill will become a major concern. The Iowa National Guard has deployed 20 soldiers to southeast Iowa, where as much as 20 inches of snow is expected. Now, here's a live look at current road conditions. Nearly the entire eastern half of the state is red. That means travel is not advised. A lot of highways in southeastern Iowa are closed because it's gotten so bad they had to pull the plows. And we have a team of reporters dedicated to helping you stay safe tonight.
Outside is freezing our cameras, so Todd Magel joins us inside tonight.
And Todd, you saw the dangerous driving conditions firsthand on I-80 today.
We certainly did. We have been out most of the afternoon and, of course, most of the evening, and we found out why the State Patrol is warning people not to be outside tonight unless it is absolutely necessary.
Nightfall only makes a bad situation worse. What was difficult to see during the day is impossible at night thanks to more snow and more wind. This rest area east of Des Moines is now a truck stop.
It looks horrible. It's just complete whiteout. You'd be lucky if you can see 100 feet on occasion.
Day or night, travel along I-80 east of Altoona has been tricky. This multi-truck crash closed the westbound interstate for much of the afternoon. Traffic was backed up for miles.
The trailers are getting whipped in the wind, and they're causing traction. They're losing traction, and they're sliding off in the ditch.
A car hauler crashed first, then a short time later another semi lost control and slammed into the first truck. It took several tow trucks to clean up the mess.
It looks like you had to sort of rip it in half.
Yeah, we did. It's the only way we can get out. The State Patrol wants to open the road up, so we do what we got to do to make it happen.
In most snowstorms, it's the snow that's the problem, but in this case, it is the wind. Blizzard-like conditions with winds blowing over 50 miles an hour, and that means, in most cases, you can't see beyond the car in front of you. The State Patrol is hoping most drivers who don't have to be on the road will avoid it.
You can see the concrete on the travel portion, but it's a glare of ice. It truly is a glare of ice.
Ice now buried in snow in the middle of a blizzard.
Now, once again, the state is warning people not to travel, especially on roads here in central and also in south central Iowa. And Stacy and Kevin, judging by the forecast, it will only get worse tonight and certainly toward tomorrow morning.
It does look like it. Thanks, Todd.
Now we want to shift gears and go to Patrick Bell, who's out there checking road conditions around the metro.
He's live casting for us with photojournalist Spencer Vaughn, who is driving very slowly and carefully. So, Patrick, where are you tonight?
Well, Stacey, we are following 6 West Des Moines snowplow drivers as they try their best to clear off Jordan Creek Parkway just south of Interstate 80. Without a doubt, guys, some of the worst driving conditions I've seen in quite some time. I-235, I-80, we just exited off of. Many places is covered with several inches of snow, but it's the unbelievably gusty and those frigid winds that are whipping in from the north that's making even the most routine drive an adventure, because literally the second a plow makes a pass, the snow is blown right back onto the road. It's been happening for several hours now, and if you drove home around 5 or 6 o'clock, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Check out this video from Ankeny showing traffic moving at a snail's pace. Roads were worsening by the moment, and thankfully many employers let workers off early so they'd avoid being stuck in what the National Weather Service warns are life-threatening conditions out here.
By the time February rolls around, snowbanks grow deep and patience for warmth runs thin.
I look forward to the spring.
It happens every winter.
It's almost like an icicle out here. You turn it into one no matter how many clothes you got on.
Folks wishing we could skip past winter and land in any month that didn't feature negative temps.
Anybody would prefer the warm besides this.
When it's this cold, all you can do is dream of those hot summer days that will eventually get here. You know the ones when it's hot and sticky out here at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. Instead of frigid, can I get some corn dog? Sure. The only snow out here in August is scooped into cones and sold for $3. Oh, I could make a fortune. It just goes to show the grass is always greener on the other side of the tree. Because who wouldn't want to take just a few steps and fast forward all the way to summer right about now? This feels good, except for the layers. Oh, I can use a few right now. This is frigid. But before you get too excited,
Sticky hot, yes.
remember what August is really like.
It was just so humid and hot. It just made you feel miserable. You sweated through your clothes. It was terrible.
When the heat index tops 100, people beg for the ice we are sick of.
The only thing that kept me cool was keeping my hands in the ice and keeping my arms cool.
Too hot, we complain.
It was hot, I mean, really.
When it's too cold,
Not bad weather lately.
the same. This is what makes those 72 and sunny days even sweeter.
Knowing that there's only, 5-6 weeks before spring's going to arrive here for a long.
Good morning. My name is Chelsea Scriven. I work at Scooter's Coffee House. That is my job title right now, sign girl. We just got to drive through about 2 months ago, I want to say. Good morning. Thank you for choosing Scooters. You can order whenever you're ready. Chelsea is one of our greatest workers. You know, here at Scooters, we hire people for their personality. Every morning before I go out, I always have a cup of coffee, and I just have coffee going through my veins. I usually stand out here for like 2 hours. Sometimes I listen to my iPod, and it's a good way to just start your morning. A lot of people just give you really crazy looks, but some people are really fun about it and wave and smile at you, and other people are just like, sorry, I already have a cup of coffee. Like, just trying to like guilt trip me, I guess. I try to just make people's mornings, I guess, too. Like, it's morning, nobody likes to be awake, and they're all driving to work or driving to school. We just love making people happy and doing that however we can, and Chelsea's great at making people smile.
I think it's good. Good advertising.
She must have had a good share of caffeine. Must be good coffee.
Young people have high energy.
You have to vary what you do. You can't just stand around and wave your sign back and forth, because that gets so boring. And if you want people to do a double take or a triple take, you have to be interesting. People always give me weird looks, but a lot of times they smile more. Honestly, my legs get a little tired jumping around, so I have to switch it up every once in a while. I love coffee.
After starring for Bondurant Farrar, Chris Norton had high hopes for his freshman year at Luther College.
To play on the football team right away as a freshman, to get on some special teams, which I was able to accomplish, and just, eventually grow into, a starter and just do what I love, playing sports and playing football and just going to school and have a good time.
He was living his dream, but it would not last long.
It was October 16th of last season. Chris Norton, a freshman on the Luther football team, was here at this very spot in the stadium in Decorah when he was covering a kickoff, tackling a Central football player right around the 30-yard line. When the Central football player's knee came up and hit Chris in the head, Norton dropped to the ground. Right away, his family knew something terrible had happened.
Sometimes when you're hurt, you kind of roll around or whatever on the ground, but he was motionless, so that's when I knew.
Waiting for the kind of the numbness and to go away, and just figured it was a really bad stinger.
As a coach, it's your worst nightmare?
When they had to call in for a helicopter, that's when I knew it was serious.
Chris was paralyzed. He was airlifted to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. His neck was fractured, his spinal cord compressed.
They told me after the surgery that there's a 3% chance of any kind of movement below the injury site. And so that was definitely a big blow, but it never really seemed real. I just knew right from the beginning that that wasn't going to be the case, and that I wasn't going to be able to walk and be able to move again.
Amazingly, Chris got a chance to prove himself.
1, 2, 3.
You see, once the shock in his spinal cord began to wear off,
There you go.
his nerves actually began to wake up. So step by step, muscle by muscle, Chris defied the odds and began the long journey of retraining his entire body.
Almost like a competition for me to improve myself, and I won't be able to sleep at night if I know I didn't work hard enough.
I've never seen anyone work this hard.
Chris does the work, but older sister Alex makes it possible. She just got her nursing degree, and instead of beginning her career, she moved to Decorah to help Chris full-time.
I really don't feel like I've had to sacrifice anything. He's my brother, and I have my whole life to work, so.
She's pretty much my mom up here taking care of me. And
what are we having for supper?
I don't know.
Twice a week, she drives him 150 miles round trip to the Mayo Clinic for extensive rehab.
She's with Sheila.
Pull it, Chris.
That's what I'm talking about.
They spend every other day of the week in Decorah, pushing Chris's body to the limit. It's a challenge he's been unknowingly preparing for his entire life.
Growing up, loving sports, he'd always do a speed and agility camp, then he'd go to open gym, then he'd go to practice for something else, and all day was focused on sports and working out, so I think that really has played a huge role in getting him where he is today.
Hard work pays off. On September 10th, less than a year after breaking his neck, Chris showed his old teammates just how far he'd come. As an honorary captain that day, Chris led out his team and stood tall on legs he shouldn't be able to use.
It was a great, rush, and it was a great feeling to be back, kind of a stepping stone to my recovery.
And it was a landmark moment for Chris, his parents, and his 2 sisters.
Definitely feels great to beat the odds, and that I'm not going to let other people tell me what's going to happen to me or how it's going to dictate my life.
Chris has been a great inspiration. They look at Chris in regards to, just what faith and determination can do. I think they look at Chris as well as somebody who appreciates each and every moment.
Since that day 2 months ago, Chris's progress has been astonishing.
I'm gonna let go here.
He can now stand unassisted for 3 minutes. And here's the most recent video, controlling his own legs as he moves even closer to his ultimate goal.
People can't believe when I tell them, the percentage and where my injury was at. You're not supposed to have hardly any return, and I've had so much return.
I think it's a miracle. I think it's really, really cool, and it comes from the hard work that Chris has given to his body.
It's remarkable what he has done, and I fully believe he's going to stand up and walk on his own here in the near future.
I just keep working really hard and just say my prayers and just keep believing.
Every Friday, Urbandale quarterback Ben Hurley leads his team out to huge cheers. But his biggest cheerleader can barely make a sound.
This is my mom, Trudy Goss Hurley. She has ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. She's 51. It's pretty special to me.
Trudy Goss Hurley started showing symptoms back when Ben was in 6th grade. His parents had divorced 3 years earlier. Ben gradually became one of his mother's main caregivers, and by the time high school had rolled around,
if the in-home help wasn't there, I had to feed her, make sure my mom got food and water, transfer her in between her bed and her wheelchair if she wanted to go outside.
Ben grew up in a hurry.
I had to make sure I was home at a decent hour so I can get her in bed, and there's nothing like staying out late or any of that stuff. I don't really know what it was like to be a normal 14-year-old, but I mean, that's the 14-year-old age I know, and I wouldn't change it because that's what's made me who I am. I care for her beyond anything, and it's just hard for one to see someone that they love so much be not what they used to be.
People with ALS gradually lose control of their muscles, and only 1 in 4 live 5 years. Trudy is going on 6. You see, she's got something that's simply way too big to miss.
My mom used to tell me all the time that coming to the games was one of the most important things to her.
There's the grill gang. There's the grill gang.
ALS or not, there's no way Trudy would miss 1 second of her youngest child's senior year.
She's living proof of what just personal will can do for you.
Pretty good out there tonight.
Every home game, friends wheel her in, covered in Jayhawk gear.
You are an honorary member.
Trudy defies the odds and soaks in every moment.
So now you're on our team.
Here comes Ben.
J-Hawks.com.
There you can find scores, schedules, rosters, and streaming videos that capture the Jayhawks in action.
Some moments are worth holding on for.
All right, go get them tonight, bud.
I mean, it means the world to me. You should just see her mom's face light up when you make a play out on the field. I mean, she just looks like the happiest and most proud parent in the world.
And the team is proud of her.
It's kind of tell her that the football team thinks about her, and we're all playing for her.
If anyone knows what Ben is going through, it's Coach Sam Anderson. His father-in-law died from Lou Gehrig's disease a few years ago.
It's very tough, and he's handled it, outstanding, just in terms of he's maintained steady focus on his school, on his athletics, and also being able to, spend time with his mom.
Time with his mom may be running short.
Don't take for granted your parents.
But what he's learned will last a lifetime.
She fights through everything like no one else I could even imagine could. And she shows the world how people are supposed to get through tough situations.
Scott Reister, KCCI, Iowa Sports Leader.
Decades before Facebook,
Hi, Tom.
social communities revolved
How you doing, Jim?
around red, white, and blue poles.
Thank you, Don.
Well, this is the information center.
She gets sick for about 3 days, but not extremely bad.
In Fremont, where the population's just a hair over 700,
Depends who's died in the last week.
one man
You still cut hair?
Sit down.
is an $8 institution.
When I moved down here, it was $1.
6 generations of Mahaska County men have remained faithful to Bill the barber.
It really turns them on when I stick my finger in their ear.
A Main Street love affair that started 49 years ago.
When I opened up that day, I thought, what have I done? It was like an hour before I had a customer.
Before long, the town would go bushy anytime Bill took a vacation or, heaven forbid, he had heart surgery.
Nobody wanted to get their haircut. We all looked like we're crap for 2 months till he came back and cut our hair again.
Triggering a run on the barber.
And the most haircuts I've ever given in one day was 82. And I thought I was going to decease. It was terrible.
Bill is kind of the heart of Fremont.
I love it, and just getting up and coming to work is a joy. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Kiwi baby.
So imagine their horror.
When's your last day anyway?
Tomorrow.
When his faithful men got the news.
And you taught Rod how to cut nose hair.
Yep, we will.
And ear hair.
Oh, yeah.
But after pretty near half a century, Bill's clippers aren't quite done yet.
My wife's lost her hair from chemo.
Within weeks, the wards are heading south.
My son Brian and I are going to shave our heads before we go to Mexico, so she won't be the only bald one on the trip.
Leaving his faithful men in good hands.
Appreciate all your business. It's been fun.
To celebrate life with his sweetheart.
Yeah, Jim, thank you. Barbershop.
They got married here in State Center.
May 26, 1939.
In this house, on the day she graduated from high school, Norma Stock promised to love Gordon Yeager forever.
They're very old-fashioned. They believed in marriage till death do you apart.
Dennis Yeager was the last of 4 children born to Gordon and Norma. His sister Donna was firstborn.
Staying together for 72 years, I'd say is good. And nowadays, that's exceptional.
The way the kids tell it, Dad was the life of the party. Mom kept everything together.
Anybody come over, she was the one, the hostess with the mostest. She just, seriously, the more she did, the more she smiled. Dad would be the center of attention going, hey, look at me. And Mom's like, get him away from me, you know? We even got a picture like that.
Norma didn't really want the distance. She hardly left his side for 72 years.
They just love being together. You know, even like everybody argues once in a while, but they still, you know, he always said, I have to stick around until, you know, I can't go until she does because I got to stay here for her. And she would say the same thing.
It's almost as if they knew.
Last Wednesday, they left home to go into town. Somehow there was an accident there.
At the intersection of Highway 30 and Jessup Avenue, just west of Marshalltown, state troopers say Gordon pulled in front of an oncoming car.
I rushed from Des Moines, where I was working, and saw him in the hospital.
In the intensive care unit of Marshalltown's hospital, nurses knew not to separate Gordon and Norma.
So they brought him in the same room in intensive care and put them together, and then they were holding hands in intensive care, and then, you know, with the morphine and everything, and then they were not really responsive.
Gordon died at 3:38, holding hands with his wife. The family they built surrounded them.
And it was really strange. They were holding hands, and Dad stopped breathing. I couldn't figure out what was going on because the heart monitor's still going. And we're like, but he isn't breathing. Why? How would he still have a heartbeat? And she checked and everything, and she said, well, that's because they're holding hands, and it's going through them. Then her heart was beating through him and picking it up.
They were still getting her heartbeat through him.
At 4:38, exactly 1 hour after Gordon, Norma passed too.
Neither one of them would have wanted to be without each other. I couldn't figure out how it was going to work. We were very blessed, honestly, that they went this way.
They just love being together.
The roof just raised and the windows just blow out and flames just shot everywhere. And then it's just instant fire.
An explosion, instant fire, and a man inside gets out with just seconds to spare.
It happened just before 5 o'clock in Delaware Township, northeast of Des Moines.
Emily Price has the incredible story of how 2 men rescued the man inside. Emily?
Kevin and Stacy, what happened in Delaware Township is a story of a fast fire, courageous neighbors, and one lucky guy.
As soon as you get here, through the next truck in, Jack, just hide it right behind my truck. It exploded, just like the roof raised up, and the bottom just pooped like that, and fire shot out through the sides. Maybe I was crazy for running in, but I heard a guy in yelling and screaming to help, and what are you gonna do, stand outside?
2 men, Biker Mark and Steve Miller, refused to stand and watch the flames grow.
I yanked the door open and busted it off the hinges. All there was smoke, insulation everywhere inside the house. It was just total destruction. I mean, just devastation. It was crazy.
We tried to pick him up, but he's 600 pounds. We got him out on the ground, and he collapsed, but the fire started getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and so we started just rolling him across the street and rolled him down into my ditch.
His cat was in there, but I couldn't get his cat out. And I started going in, and I turned around and came back out, and I did. About 30 seconds later, it was up, gone.
The fire was so fast, so hot, and melted the siding on the homes next door. Firefighters from Ankeny, Sailor Township, and Delaware Township battled together, evacuating neighbors and fighting the flames.
I'm just kind of glad that my house didn't catch on fire. You know, that's one thing I was worried about too, but his house right next door.
His home was saved, and so was the man he fought to find.
It's all the skin on his hands was melted off.
He got skin just falling off of his arms.
Badly injured, but able to talk and leave clues about what started it all.
He was always coherent. He said a gas explosion happened, and that's what it looked like. Just kaboom.
He just said, I had a gas leak, and I said, you're lucky.
That man had severe burns on his hands, chest, and stomach. We don't know his exact condition tonight, but thanks to 2 neighbors, he is alive.
And we heard one of those neighbors talking about a gas leak. Is that the definite cause, Emily?
Well, they say it will take some time to know for sure, but that is what it's looking like tonight.
All right, Emily, thank you very much. We also caught another view of this fire via the I-235 and Euclid DOT traffic cam. The smoke so black, so thick, it could be seen for miles. Now, more destruction to tell you about, this one to our south.
Governor Branstad has officially declared Taylor County a disaster area following last night's tornadoes in Lenox. Patrick Bell gives us a new look at the damage.
Yeah, Stacey and Kevin, the National Weather Service now says not 1 but 2 twisters tore through Lenox, toppling trees, damaging homes, and nearly destroying the town's prized city park. And despite the damage, folks there are counting their blessings tonight. A very big mess in a very small town.
Just luck of the draw, and we weren't that lucky.
1,200 people, give or take a few, live in Lenox. And many of them are picking up the pieces after 2 tornadoes rolled through Wednesday night, leaving 60 homes and 35 city blocks heavily damaged.
We saw this stuff. It was like just a big gray, like, swish of crap in the air.
Jessica Miller's 11-year-old son, Austin, was home alone when the twisters touched down.
He said, "Mommy, there's glass breaking. It's loud. It's crackling. It's loud." And I think the house is going. And I'm like, Austin, and I mean, I was like 2 blocks away. I could not get here. And it was like the worst feeling. I can't even explain it.
Moments later, she ran through the front door yelling his name.
He was just like, "Mommy, I'm so scared. I'm so scared." And he ended up getting in the dryer.
That's right. This little boy was so frightened he somehow folded himself into the family's dryer.
I think he's a very smart boy to get in there.
Down the street, Justin Moen can't believe his towering shade tree tumbled through his roof.
No, that's not normally there.
And though Lenox is battered and bruised, everyone is thankful that no one was injured. And the fire chief tells us one person was trapped for a short time after a tree fell on his house. And those tornadoes, believe it or not, were 2 of the weaker twisters on the enhanced Fujita scale. And John, those tornadoes were officially ruled as what, EF0 and EF1?
That's correct. That's winds up to about 105 miles an hour in the strongest one. So strong enough to take parts of roofs off, but not totally demolish a house out there. And it was one big whirl with little whirls circulating around it. So that's why they had one tornado, and then the second one came in on its heels.
The power is just amazing, isn't it?
Yep. But,
it really is.
Got off good. No injuries, no fatalities. That's the way we like it. Super Doppler forecast. A little stormy out there tonight. We've had a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. Not picking up any damage, though. Most of the hail's been running around 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inches, getting up around golf ball size. Live view now from Greene County, extending on up into Webster County, on up to Hamilton County. A line of some strong storms right now just below severe limits. Take you in for a little closer view north of Lehigh, around Duncombe. Very heavy rain, much like yesterday. Lots of moisture in the atmosphere. You're going to pick up a quick shot of 1 inch of rain or so, but most of the hail now running below 1/2 inch. Weather headlines: hail to 1 inch or so for the next couple of hours. Should taper off overnight. Still some gusty winds, but no wind damage is being reported from these storms. But the cold front will be moving through toward morning. That is going to result in sharp cooling for Friday.
Thank you, John. A high-speed chase last month in Boone County ends when the deputy's car flips 6 times. And tonight we're getting a new look at the chase and the crash from the squad car's in-car camera. Angie Hunt's in the Ames Live Link with this amazing video. Angie.
Well, Stacey, it took some time for that video to be recovered because of the crash. But as you'll see, it started when the deputy was responding to several 911 calls of an erratic driver on Highway 30.
This is the suspect vehicle here. You can see he's pulling away from traffic.
That's as close as Deputy Andrew Godzicki would get to 21-year-old Spencer Welch. By the time Godzicki could turn around, Welch was long gone.
We've all turned around on people going 80 miles an hour many a times, and there comes to a point where I should have caught up to him, and it just never happened.
Godzicki initially clocked Welch going 81 near Ogden. In this dash cam video, you see Godzicki speeding by the other drivers on Highway 30. Based on his own speed, Godzicki can only guess how fast Welch was driving.
I got up to 120 and still never closed the gap.
Godzicki finally spotted Welch near Seven Oaks Recreation, but had to quickly maneuver around another car.
And I could see him going that way, and so I picked up the mic and I called it out northbound on L Avenue, and then I realized I'm way too close to this car and I had to take evasive action, and I tried to get over, but as the video showed, it didn't work out.
Godzicki's car rolled 6 times.
It just all happened so fast.
It's the type of accident he's responded to before, but typically with such high speeds, it's rare the driver survives.
How I walked away with relatively little injuries it's a mystery.
And Godzicki knows he is very lucky. He had a few more aches and pains, he says, than he expected, but he is back at work and feeling a lot better. Godzicki said he is thankful for all the drivers who did stop that morning. Of course, everything was just strewn all over the road, and they helped getting his equipment and all of his evidence bags back in his possession.
It makes you shudder when you see that car and what bad shape that thing is in. What about the driver that he was chasing, Angie?
Yeah, deputies had a pretty good idea who it was, and they were able to catch up with Spencer Welch of Boone later where he works. He's been charged with reckless driving and speeding.
Okay, Angie Hunt in the Ames Live Link tonight. Thanks, Angie.
Early last night, Interstate 80 in Jasper County was the scene of another head-on collision. As Laura Nichols reports, this stretch of road has become notorious for this particular type of crash.
I'm on Interstate 80 about 3 miles east of Mingo, where this busy stretch of interstate turned deadly last night when a car crossed over the median and hit another head-on. 59-year-old Tim Nelson of Newton was killed in that crash. His car was hit by a minivan that crossed the median. The 3 people in the van were injured. The DOT says this is one of the most dangerous stretches of interstate because of the high traffic volume and no cable medians. You can see orange cones where cable medians are in the beginning stage of being installed. The DOT says it is speeding up the process to build these cable medians along a 75-mile stretch of interstate because of the danger of head-on collisions from crossing the median.
We advanced all these projects on I-80 because we did have some fatalities last year in 2010, so we had decided to let all these projects in the entire section of central Iowa, again a 60-75-mile stretch, to be completed in 1 year.
The construction of the cable medians is scheduled to be finished in August. I'm Laura Nichols reporting in Jasper County.
The 75-mile stretch of cable median starts at Adventureland Interchange in Polk County. It runs east all the way to Grinnell. While the Jasper County section will be finished in August, the DOT estimates that the entire project won't be finished until November.
We have new information in a couple of court cases we're following. First, a Des Moines man who killed his wife in April of last year is found guilty of first-degree murder. Dante Gilmore shot his wife Randy 8 times inside their home over accusations of infidelity. The couple's 3 young daughters were in the home at the time. Gilmore faces a mandatory life sentence in prison. An appellate pastor is due back in court next week. Patrick Edward now faces 7 counts of sexual abuse. He's accused of raping 3 women from his congregation. His arraignment is set for May 20th. And still ahead tonight at 10, we take you back behind bars.
Kerry Gavin goes inside the maximum security area of the Polk County Jail. That's where the most dangerous criminals are housed. It's a revealing look at life under the lockdown. Next.
Every day, dozens of people are arrested and booked into the Polk County Jail. Last night at 10, News Channel 8's Kerry Gavin became one of them. From the handcuffs to the orange jumpsuit, even the mugshot.
Tonight, Kerry continues that process to give us an inside look behind bars. Kerry?
Kevin and Stacy, 100 of inmates are housed at the Polk County Jail while serving a sentence that's less than 1 year or while they await trial. Now, my time in jail was short, but it was an eye-opening experience I'll never forget. It's so like cold and white and stark. Definitely a different world in here.
1,800 well-worn locks and doors. These are the barriers that separate inmates at the Polk County Jail from the outside world. The cold, identical, minimal interior is home to some 900 inmates at any given time. Each inmate must first go through the booking process, an experience I took part in yesterday.
you're still not able to post bond, or if you don't have a bond at that point, then you would be assigned after classification to one of the housing units.
Once assigned, the orange jumpsuit is traded in for a new jail uniform, color-coded to let everyone know where you should be.
The orange and white and the green and white are just general population. The pink is the inmates who will be in the high security or maximum security area, and they would be our inmates that we need to be the most cautious around. And then our inmate workers wear yellow and green.
There are several housing units or pods at the jail. This is the maximum security unit.
One of the differences is the amount of people that would be assigned to this unit. There would only be up to 32 people, and they would all be assigned to an individual cell. In our other housing units, you can have up to 64 people.
For our safety and theirs, we do not go into a housing unit with inmates, but this unit is similar to the others.
It's more of an open housing unit. There generally aren't doors on the cells, and there would be at least 2 people assigned there.
Each housing unit has 2 tiers with tables in the center, telephones, and visitation units. Calls are limited to 20 minutes and must be paid for by the inmates. 2 20-minute video visitations are allowed per week. Inside each cell, a bed, a desk, and a toilet with wash basin. These are the indelicate aspects of life in jail, as there is no privacy.
We don't have too many problems here at the jail. Most people do learn to get along.
One detention officer is assigned to watch over each housing unit, 2 in the maximum security area. During the day, inmates follow a regimented schedule and routine.
Generally, you start showers in the morning. Breakfast time is around 6:30. Lunchtime is around 11:30. We have another shift change a few hours after that. And then supper time is about 6 or 6:30. The lights would get shut off about 10 or 10:30 at night, and that would include all the lights in this housing unit.
330 cameras and 3,000 intercoms keep watch over the jail at all times. A central control center just outside each housing unit keeps even closer surveillance. For every inmate, the expectations and rules are the same. There is no special treatment here.
You see the full range of societal status that comes in here, and so people make mistakes, and sometimes they make ones and get caught and end up in jail, and it could definitely happen to anybody.
Like I said earlier, my time in jail was short. I wasn't convicted of any crime. And one thing I really realized during my time there is that the officers working there certainly realize that inmates come from all walks of life, and they do treat them with respect. But Sergeant Rooker says that respect has to be earned by both the inmates and the officers. And as you saw there are definitely a lot of rules in jail. And to make sure all the inmates understand what is expected of them, they get this 40-page jail rule handbook. After they're booked, it outlines everything that they can do, what they are expected to do, and of course, what not to do. If you want to check it out, we've put a link on our website so you can know all the rules of the Polk County Jail.
But they're very businesslike there, aren't they?
Very businesslike. You know, and a lot of respect. I saw a lot of respect by both the inmates and the officers.
All right, Carrie, thanks.
Super Doppler forecast cooling down next. Welcome back. Quick look at that security cam video from Lenox as the winds start getting up around 70, 80 miles an hour. You can watch how even heavy debris, timber, everything starts to go. And interesting that you had a car driving through there right as it was happening. So anyway, good news, not a whole lot of injuries down there, nothing serious, just a whole lot of cleanup. 73 right now, 63 the dew point. 71% still on the warm side of the front with a southwest wind, pressure 2976. Live Super Doppler HD still pretty busy. Strongest storm right now located up to the north Wright County. Non-severe storms scattered to the south, down around just south of Fort Dodge. And reports generally coming in at about 3/4 inch to about 8/10 of an inch for the hail. But remember, we've changed the hail criteria to 1 inch. So unless it's over 1 inch now, not actually considered severe. Strongest storms we mentioned up to the north. It's moving north for only about 20 miles an hour. It's going to be heading up toward Clarion in the next couple of minutes, including the Clarion Goldfield Community School, which is one of the spots. We've got a school net site. Rainfall amounts from our school nets: Fort Dodge 8/10 of an inch, Algona about 4/10, the Zoo about the same, Pocahontas up to the north, stormy day there, 43 100ths, and Humboldt at about 0.4 of an inch. This is still in effect until 1 a.m. Severe thunderstorm watch. The good news is things seem to be winding down a little bit. You can see the contrast in temps. 50s now to the north of the front, still 70s out ahead of it, and that's where the storms have been firing up. And we also have this big low pressure area out in Nebraska, and as that thing moves across, still the potential in the next couple hours or so of some storms getting at least close to severe limits. But the tornado watch, which has been in effect for Nebraska, was just canceled, so that is good news. As low moves across, our winds tonight will gradually switch to the northwest by around 4 or 5 in the morning. That'll bring in the cool air. Tomorrow, definitely a different day. Temperatures only in the 50s and 60s. So for tonight, the rain gradually pushing out to the south and east. During the day tomorrow, some lingering light showers, gusty winds, and low clouds. We'll clear things out just a little bit on Saturday, at least partly cloudy from time to time, but still a very cool day. And then by Saturday evening, an area of light rain will move in and be with us into early Sunday. 56 tonight, scattered storms. During the day tomorrow, it will be a cool one. Highs only in the low 60s with gusty north winds. Heading into the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, upper 50s both days. Some light rain, mainly on Sunday. Heading on through the extended period, we're talking about temperatures slowly recovering back into the upper 60s to near 70 by midweek. But if you want to keep track of things at home when you're not watching TV, you can always check out our website, and Wes tells you how to use the interactive radar feature.
Well, a quick reminder, you can always find interactive radar on our website, KCCI.com. Just go there, KCCI.com, click on Check Interactive Radar. It'll get you right where you need to go. You can track the storm, see where the hail's at, where the heaviest rain's at. And this is also available on our mobile application as well. And again, you can zoom this down to street level.
Hopefully your internet's a little faster than ours when he was doing that.
All right. Thank you, John.
Still to come tonight, a key Senate committee takes the next step to block plans for a new abortion clinic in Iowa.
And a sizable reward now offered to help find the person who is responsible for neglecting these dogs. Those stories and more straight ahead.
News from the State House tonight. A key Senate committee approves a measure to specifically block a new abortion clinic in Iowa.
There's a Nebraska doctor who wants to open a clinic in Council Bluffs, but the bill states that 20-week abortions could only be performed in cities that have hospitals which offer intensive care for infants. Right now, only Davenport, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and Des Moines meet that requirement. The bill now heads to the full Senate.
New, a $10 and $800 reward is now being offered for information in a Story County animal abuse case. We first showed you this video last night at 10. 2 boxers were found along with their cages in a rural ditch near Maxwell. Both dogs weighed just 20 pounds. These animals should actually weigh somewhere between 55 to 75 pounds. If you have any information, call Story County Animal Control 515-382-3338.
Commitment 2012 coverage now, and this news just coming in as Republican Ron Paul is expected to make it official tomorrow. He is running for president. The Texas congressman was here in Iowa on Tuesday to open a campaign office in Ankeny. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich just announced his candidacy officially yesterday and is planning to return to Iowa next week. He said early today he will make 17 stops across the state.
Sports Director Andy Garman in now. We've got some Bulls highlights, huh?
Playoffs rolling on, and we're now down to the Eastern Conference Finals. The semifinals come to an end today with a lopsided performance. We'll show you the highlights next on Iowa Sports Leader. The Chicago Bulls finished the regular season with the best record in the NBA, but they haven't looked all that dominant in the playoffs. Derrick Rose and company struggled to put away 8-seed Indiana. They haven't exactly looked like world beaters against Atlanta until tonight. Bulls and Hawks, Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Semis. Bulls up 3-2, a win, and they're on to the finals for the first time since '98 with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. That is Josh Smith, skying above, shaking off the contact and throwing it down one-handed. That is it for Hawks highlights. The rest of the way, it was all Bulls. Derrick Rose, your MVP. Nice screen from Joakim Noah. Lays it in, plus the foul. Bulls win big. Carlos Boozer with 23. Bulls win by 20, 93-73. Now, the Eastern Conference Finals are expected to tip off on Sunday in Chicago, but there's no doubt who's number one in that city, Oprah. Oprah Winfrey has reserved the United Center for show tapings Monday and Tuesday, which means instead of Tuesday being Game 2 in the Eastern Conference Finals, the NBA gets an extra day off before playing on Wednesday. Congratulations to a pair of hoopers with Iowa ties today, chosen to try out for the USA Basketball Under-19 All-Star team. Iowa freshman Melson Basabi and former Ames High standout Doug McDermott, 2 of the 17 guys who will try to make the squad. 16 countries will battle in the U19 World Championship Tournament, June 30th through July 10th in Latvia. Iowa Cubs hoping for a split in a doubleheader at Colorado Springs. They lost game 1 11-5, but they come back now leading 11-8. Colorado Springs has narrowed the gap with a furious couple of innings out there in the rare air. Big Cubs and Cardinals. That's not Tony La Russa. That's Kyle Loesch standing in for his manager. And nobody stood in for the Cardinals in this one. Matt Holliday absolutely rips one. Solo shot onto Waveland Avenue, and that was just the start. Casey Coleman got rocked, and so did the Cubs. 9-1 the final. St. Louis, your winners at Wrigley Field. Back after this.
Today's Market Report is sponsored by Wells Fargo Advisors.
Hail to about an inch. That'll be the main thread overnight. Live Super Doppler still showing a strong storm up around Clarion. That did produce hail right at 1 inch just a bit ago. Other stronger storms will continue on and off tonight, followed by much colder temperatures during the day tomorrow. Here's the latest look up north. You can see that storm is wound down just a bit.
Thank you very much, John. And of course, as always, check out the latest in news, weather, and everything else, including your traffic, bright and early tomorrow morning starting at 4:30.
Thanks for joining us. Late Show coming up next.